Mrs. Sudashri S., SBOA Metric, receives the first prize. Mrs. S. Gajalakshmi, SBOA Junior College, second place. Third place is shared by 5 teachers. Mrs. Norton Rosalind Mary, SBOA Metric, Trichy. Mrs. Norton Rosalind Mary, SBOA Metric, Trichy. Mrs. Nirmala Anand, SBOA JC. Mrs. Radha Prasad, SBOA JC. Mrs. Georgina Premkumar, SBIOA Model Metric, Chennai. Mrs. Reena, SBOA Metric, Madurai. Thank you, sir. Based on merit, a few teachers were given the privilege to attend a training program in Singapore at Logic Mills. I request Mr. T. Sendikumar, correspondents, SBOA Junior College, to distribute the certificates for the management committee members who underwent management training in Singapore. Dr. D. Thomas Franco Rajendra Dev, Secretary and Correspondent. Mr. G. Selvaraj, Correspondent, SBOA Coimbatore. Mr. G. Selvaraj, Correspondent, SBOA Coimbatore. Mr. J. Joseph Stalin, Correspondent, SBOA Madurai. Mr. A. Ravichandran, Correspondent, SBOA Metric. Mr. A. V. Joseph, Correspondent, SBIOA Model Metric. Mr. V. K. Premachandran, SBIOA Ernakulam, Correspondent. The principal will receive the certificate on his behalf. I request Mrs. Daya Shyamla, Administrator, to receive the certificate of Mr. Joseph Stalin, Correspondent, SBI Madurai, on his behalf. Mr. Ashok, Correspondent, SBOA Trichy. Dr. R.V. Bindu, Administrator, SBIO Educational Trust. Dr. M. Indra Jairaj, Vice Principal, Sharpen. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. May I request Mr. R. Balaji, President, SBIOA Educational Trust, to distribute the certificates for the teachers who underwent the training at Logic Mills. Mrs. Sai Sudha, Junior College. Mrs. Nancy, Sboa Junior College. Mrs. Manju, Sboa Junior College. Mrs. Mohanapriya, Sboa Junior College. Mrs. Daulat B, Sboa Junior College. Thank you, sir. May I request Mr. A. Ravichandran, correspondent SBOA Metric, to distribute the certificates to the teachers. Mr. Joshua Abraham, Chennai Metric. Mrs. Shumati, SBOA Junior College. Mrs. K. Priyadarshini, SBOA Junior College. Mrs. V. Varalakshmi, Mrs. V. Kavita, Mrs. S. Deepa Lakshmi from SBOA Junior College. Mrs. Sophia Chandraprabhu, SBOA CBSE Trichy. Mrs. Malarviri, SBOA Coimbatore. Mrs. V. Deepa, SBOA Junior College, and Mrs. R. Deepa, SBOA Junior College. Thank you, sir. May I request Mr. A.V. Joseph, correspondent SBIOA Model Metric Higher Secondary School, to distribute the certificates. Mrs. Rosie George, Chennai Metric. Mrs. Asha Mohan, SBOA Junior College. Mrs. J. Sridevi, Coimbatore. Mrs. Agilandeshwari, Coimbatore. Mrs. Geeta, Chennai Metric. Mrs. Reni Jubi, Junior College. Mrs. Maria Mano, Mrs. Pradima, Ms. Jyotis Matthew Ernakulam, Ms. P.S. Deepa, SBOA Global. Thank you, sir. To appreciate the efforts taken by the administrators and principals in conducting this seminar, SBI Educational Trust would like to honor them. And to appreciate the efforts taken by all the schools in displaying their achievements and talents in the pavilion and in the cultural show during the campfire on the theme Unity and Diversity, the SBIOA Educational Trust would like to honor them with a check of Rs 5,000 as a token of appreciation. SBOA Global and Mambakam, I request Dr. D. Thomas Franco Rajendra Dev, Secretary and Correspondent, SBOA Educational Trust, to distribute the gift checks. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Oh. I request Mr. G. Selvaraj, Correspondent, Coimbatore, to distribute the gift checks. First, a special prize goes to SBOA Global and SBOA International School, Mambakam, for their display. I request Mr. Samuel Inbaraj, Headmaster, SBOA Global, and Mrs. Vijay Lakshmi Nageshwaran, Headmistress, SBIOA International School, to receive the gift checks. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Shrikala Karnagaran, SBOA Ernakulam, Principal. Mrs. Okay. Mrs. Ambujam, Principal, Metric Trichy. Mrs. Shakuntala, Principal, CBSE Trichy. Mrs. Sita Lakshmi, Madurai Metric. Mrs. Anita Carlin, Principal, Madurai CBSE. Mrs. Geeta Gopinath, Principal, Coimbatore Metric. Mr. V.V. Anand, SBI Model Metric. Mrs. Rita John, SBOA Metric, Chennai. Mrs. Radhika Uni, SBOA Junior College. Mrs. P.C. Selvarani, Administrator. Mrs. Daya Shamla, Administrator. Dr. R.V. Bindu, Administrator. Dr. R.V. Bindu, Administrator. Dr. Indra Jairaj, Vice Principal, Sharpen. And the Content Development Team, Ms. Angeline, Ms. Charlotte, Ms. Sumati, the trio who are involved in multiple tasking like cover design, PowerPoint presentation, content, and CD preparation. In fact, they are the people who work behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. To keep the parents informed, to have a constant touch between the school and the parents, to make the parents participate in all the activities of the school, SBIOA Educational Trust has come up with a unique idea, a live wire Bonami Parents Magazine, through which they can keep in constant touch with the parents. I request Dr. D. Thomas Franco Rajendra Dev, Secretary and Correspondent, to release the magazine, Bonhemi. I request Mr. R. Balaji, President, SBIOA Educational Trust, to receive the first copy. Thank you, sir. Now it's time to give the feedback on this 5-day educational conclave, Unity in Diversity. I request the participants to come forward and give their feedbacks. May I ask the teachers from Chennai Metric to come forward?
Chennai region to come forward.
Chennai region.
Hello, I'm Mrs. E. Pamela from SBOA JC.
respected dignitaries on the dais, and my dear friends, a very good morning to one and all gathered here. I thank the management for providing us with the opportunity to address the need of the hour, that is, unity in diversity, breaking the shackles of regional interest and developing a broader vision which will empower us to train the global learners. Mrs. Madhushalini IAS showed concern in the updation of teachers in the field of technology. She foresaw the future generation students strong enough to challenge the teachers. Ingenuity is the middle word of Sboasls. It filled our hearts with pride to watch the audiovisual treat of the release of rhyme CDs for the kindergarten, created and set to music by our teachers. Kudos to all the teachers involved. Mr. M.G. Devasahayam, IAS, reiterated that each and every citizen of India should possess the basic knowledge of the Constitution and the constitutional rights. The lack of awareness has tarnished the democracy, and it could be redeemed by bringing in awareness at the grassroots level. Dr. Vasanthi Devi's speech on inculcating values of diversity enlightened us about the socio-economic problems faced due to the economic differences. She envisioned a day when there will be a common school system available for all the citizens of India. Mr. R.K. Radhakrishnan, who presented his thoughts on unity in diversity, said, with a positive note, that with the school uniform, we have sowed the seed of unity in diversity and promised of the sweeping changes to come. Mr. Summers, the journalist of The Hindu, made everyone dream of an India that would rise up and prove that it can emulate the colonial ruler's capital, London, and make unity in diversity a reality. Father Jagat Kaspar's talk was an eye-opener which urged that patriotism and national fervor should not narrow the vision of us and make us hanker on regional values. It gave us immense sense of pride and also a tinge of jealousy to view the architectural wonder of the SBIOA Educational School at Sonalur, Arts and Science College, and the Management College. On day 4, Dr. Sultan Ahmed Ismail charmed the audience with his mesmerizing delivery on history of India, preserving unity and development. Sir was a role model for us, and he made us learn about the cultural and historic heritage in a fulfilled and light-hearted manner. Dr. Mark Nowaki wanted the teachers to be aware of the volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, as a future is impossible to predict, and radical ideas revolutionize the world as the value of skilled jobs have increased. Professionals like medicine, accountancy, and law are fast losing their importance. Mrs. Geeta Raghavan advocated super yoga and other activities to stimulate children with specific learning disability and not to resort to psychometric views of intelligence. Ms. Aparna Sridharan, psychologist, told that corporal punishment could affect the physical, psychological, developmental, and behavior pattern of the children. In the panel discussion among Dr. Mala, Mr. Sibi, the technologist, our correspondent, highlighted the progress made in artificial intelligence and the dangers involved in it. He concluded that technology could never replace a teacher. Mr. Mark Nowaki, in his talk on multiple intelligence, distinguished between the know-how and the know-what, and the importance of training the students in various skills. There was a demonstration of activities of logic mills method by the teachers. Dr. Razina Padman advised the teachers not to offer free advice to the adolescents and avoid comparison, as it would hurt their self-esteem. The plenary session have kindled and inspired us with ideas that we are all sure will help us practice and progress in the years to come towards a more humane and harmonious world. Thank you, one and all.
Good morning, everybody. I am Mrs. Mubin Sultana, Department of Computer Science, SBOA, Metric, Madurai. To strengthen the roots of unity and to stay united in spite of diversities, SBIOA Educational Trust created a wonderful opportunity to our dear teachers to feel a superlative experience through Top 18 Unity in Diversity. Both plenary and parallel sessions were organized in an awesome manner. Feedback from the Department of Computer Science. On the first day of parallel session, Mr. Sendilnathan, Director and Creative Head, Nimble Wireless, enlightened us on the topic Teach to Teach. He focused on programming concept to the students of all levels. Games were demonstrated to make students think logically. Simple programming and animation through Scratch software were taught to us. He elaborated the use of modern development tools such as code blocks, Eclipse, and Python. Finally, artificial intelligence and concept of database was made clear by the resource person. On the second day of the parallel session, Mr. Krishnamurthy, head of the Computer Science Department, KCG College of Technology, trained the staff members on Python programming. He instructed the use of dynamic semantics in Python, KLOC, FOSS, features of Python, Python modes, statements, modules, and sample Python programs were discussed and explained by the resource person. The informative sessions helped the teachers and prepared them to meet the challenges of the upcoming syllabus with great confidence. Next, I would like to register the feedback of parallel session on behalf of Tamil department. The conference was held on the topics, the ways to handle late bloomers, beauty and creativity in teaching Tamil, and memory techniques. Following points were illustrated by the resource person. Teacher is a sculpture of personality. They must teach students according to their levels. Science and math subjects helps one to improve their knowledge, whereas languages grow the talents and create potentials of the students. Languages grow the listening and speaking skills of the students. Poems are literary pieces and the themes must be taught clearly. Memorizing is one of the greatest talents, so we must grow this talent in the student of present generation. This demonstration on the goodness of the art of memory was highly appreciable. Thank you all.
A very good morning to all the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, and my dear teachers. I'm Mrs. Padma Priya, Department of Chemistry from SBOA Coimbatore, to register my feedback on science and fine arts. The power-packed, delightful diet, Top 18, served diligently with a wide range of delicious delicacies, is really a rejuvenating elixir which revived our spirit of teaching and resurrected our thoughts. The ambience and the hospitality shows the mammoth task undertaken by the illustrious galaxy of SBOA family. The lucrative price tag of the menu with all added GST is just the right attitude at our receiving end. The second and third day, the sessions which were conducted as a main course served according to one's palate to be cut chewed like the ruminants. The essence of chemistry was squeezed and distilled by the chemist Dr. Karthikeyan. The latest emerging trends of nanotechnology was served in a lucid style. The interactive sessions gave an opportunity for the teachers to exchange their teaching ideas in teaching the difficult topics like thermodynamics. Professor S. Balasubramanian, from the Royal Society of Chemistry, emphasized on the continuous professional development for teachers, and he highlighted the points of lab safety. The various activities added spice to the explosive chemistry and catalyzed our charged energies. To brief about the session conducted for the Department of Biology by Mr. Winkins, he gave the tips to relate biology to everyday life. He shared the new technological developments in medicines, DNA, and so on. Mrs. Muzira and Mr. Joel garnished the sessions with rich experiences, on biological, technological concepts. Madam Sundari Sambarthi briefed about the careers in medicine, pharmaceuticals, and public health, which was really an eye-opener for many of our teachers. The parallel session on art and craft, on contemporary art by Sri Muralidharan updated the teachers with a modern strategy of fine arts. Kerala mural, an old traditional method of painting by Jayashree Narayanan, was more appealing and can be used in training the students of class 6. The on-stroke painting by Mr. Satish of Fevicryl demonstrated various simple craft works which would definitely appeal the students. On the whole, as Francis Bacon says about the books, some books should be tasted, some devoured, but only a few should be chewed and digested thoroughly. Top 18 was a wholesome book, a package to be chewed, digested, and relished in every bite. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity given.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Roma George from SBOA Public School from the Department of English. The department-wise session for English were held on the 24th and 25th at SBOA Model Metric. There were separate sessions for the class 1 to 6 and 7 to 12. The 1 to 6 sessions was conducted by Mrs. Chitra Sundaran on the topic Activities in Grammar. It was an interactive session with various worksheets and activities to make grammar easier in the primary classes were also discussed. The 7 to 12 session was conducted by two eminent personalities, Dr. Laza Selva of Department of English, Loyola College, on the topic ELT, Made Easier and Enjoyable, and Mr. IAJ Jayadas, Professor, Loyola College, on the topic on improving vocabulary and writing skills for students respectively. The sessions were highly motivating and lively with lots of games and activities. The vocabulary games greatly helped in the vocabulary enhancement and the resource material were also beneficial. The day 2 session was for 1 to 6, was headed by Mrs. Navanitham on the topic Creative Lesson Designs. Various aspects of creative writings were discussed elaborately. The 7 to 12 session was led by Dr. Mekhala, Assistant Professor, Department of English, MCC, on the topic Changing Trends in English Language and Activities, Enhancing LSRW Skills. The session focused on the methods of teaching prose and poem. We were taught to make teaching and learning process a celebration. The 2-day seminar for the librarians were conducted at SBOA Global Chennai on 24th and 25th. Two eminent librarians from Anna University, Mr. Jabba Jaislan and Mr. T.C. Turvanakarasu, on the topic. They gave us insight into the topic, creating websites using WordPress. The session was very useful and schools have decided to create their own library blog. On day two, the librarians had a panel discussion on the activities they would be implementing under the guidance of T. Shivan, librarian Coimbatore. The afternoon session was headed by Mr. Arun Prasad from Neviskip. Clarifications regarding the library software were made by the resource person and suggestions were invited. The session was highly informative and interactive. Before I conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the SBIOA management for giving us an opportunity to enhance our teaching skills and making us more competent. Thank you.
Respected dignitaries on the dais, dignified guests of honor, and my dear friends, a very good morning to one and all. I'm Mrs. Hemlata Venkateshan from SBI Model Metric. I'm here to reminisce about the day that was yesterday. The day started with stalwart Dr. Sultan Ahmed, who waxed eloquent about the diversities which prevail in India, and despite that how strong a nation we are. It really was an eye-opener to all of us that in spite of many differences, our hearts beat as one. The second guest, Dr. Mark Nowaki from Singapore, spoke about how to prepare global learners, and in the morning and in the afternoon, he spoke about efficient learning styles and multiple intelligence. This was followed by Mrs. Geeta Raghavan, who brilliantly spoke how to help students with specific learning disabilities, as each child is different, and so is their learning ability. This was followed by Ms. Aparna Sridharan, psychologist, who believes that each child is different
And as he grows in a different environment, we must identify the environment to correlate the problems faced by him. This would go a long way in preventing problem behaviors in the future to make them the future citizens in the real sense. We had the curtains draw close on the day with Dr. Razina Padmam from MG University, who spoke about being empathetic to our young growing children who are the adolescents and the future of our nation. She inspired all of us to show unconditional love to our students, treat them as our own children, and love and support them no matter what, as each child is special. It's aptly said that an excellent teacher inspires, and you can never tell where the influence of a teacher ends. I would like to say to each one of you, to you, a student is one from a class, but for someone, he is the entire world. So let's join hands and be unified to illuminate the lives of diverse children whom we teach every day. Only then we can achieve our motto, educate and illuminate. In the end, I would like to say a few words of Woodrow Wilson. You're not here merely to make a living. You're here in order to make the world more amply, with greater vision, with a finer spirit of hope and achievement. You're here to enrich the world, and you will impoverish yourself if you forget the world. Thank you, one and all.
Good morning, dignitaries and my fellow friends. I'm Maria from Global School. It's indeed a pleasure to speak upon or give a feedback about the biology department. It started with a very good session. We had Dr. Joel Jnanadas from Loyola College in the field of biotechnology. He took us on a field trip teachers like primary teachers like myself, it is new words because we learned all these words when we were only in student days. But listen to such words and technology when such eminent speakers speak, it actually motivated us. And he also taught us how to motivate children to take biology. So it was such a good speaker, and advancement in biotechnology was also and learned and read with him. Now, afternoon session was on medical science. We had Dr. Sundari from homeopathy from Madurai. She actually told us, you can heal your life. Having positive thoughts, positive mind, and a clear mind is a success for healthy life. Second day, we had an amazing speaker. He's also our parent, Dr. Winkin Santosh. He's an assistant professor in Government College in advanced zoology and biotechnology. The day I saw him, he said, ma'am, please don't apply lipstick because he's always against lipsticks. And he says it is very hazardous, and he was always speaking on women welfare. He's such a good parent and a good speaker. He was talking about advancement in biotechnology again, the do's and don'ts our teachers should motivate children. And then he also gave us few tips how to memorize things. Like mnemonics, for example, we have ASAP, that is as soon as possible, right? So he was teaching us how to memorize and help teach students to learn and memorize few biological terms. 24th afternoon was a very lively session because we had Dr. Mujira Fatima from Nandanam Arts College. She was very lively and she took us on a trip. She had a chance to go to Kew Gardens in London. Along with her, we also had a very good trip because the way she showed the photographs and the way she explained, it was actually thrilling. She also motivated us to go on a field trip to London. We hope we will do in future. And she also was talking about how a teacher should teach in the class, asking different kind of questions like, what if it happens? For example, she had an example, what if women did not age? It was an excellent question put to us and we really enjoyed. Actually, Global School does that. We always think about thinking differently with logical and reasoning skills. I really thank all the people to giving me an opportunity to speak on this. Thanks once again.
Good morning, everybody. I am Mrs. Meena Muralidharan, Metric School, Chennai, from Department of Maths. I am privileged to present the report of the seminar conducted for the following departments: Mathematics, Physical Education, KG Department, and Counselors. Department of Maths. Department of Mathematics was divided into two groups for teachers handling classes 1 to 6 and for the classes 7 to 12. Mrs. Meena Suresh, Director of Ramanujam University, was a resource person on 24/4/18 for the primary teachers. She addressed on the topic, making maths learning joyful. Her presentation combined with skill, intelligence, and sense of humor made the session truly joyful. On 25/4/18, Dr. Padmanabhan, Senior Principal of Sri Swami International School, Salem, dealt with value-based teaching with hands-on activities. For teachers handling 7 to 12, on 24/4/18, the resource person was Mr. S. Ramesh, Principal of Narayani Vidyalaya, Vellore. He demonstrated many activities making teaching and learning maths easy. On 25/4/18, forenoon, Mr. Mahadevan, Secretary of AMTI, stressed that the process of learning maths is more important than the solution. And in the afternoon session, Dr. Muralidharan, Consultant, CTO and R&D of TCS Chennai, stressed on effective teaching in the classroom. Now for KG department, Mrs. Vijayalakshmi Seshan, Founder, Director of Phonic Champs, conducted a workshop on the topic Behavioral Problems in Children in the forenoon of 24/4/18. The workshop instilled a lot of confidence among the teachers to handle all kinds of behavioral problems in the children. In the afternoon, Dr. Jayalakshmi, founder and correspondent of SSE Montessori Training Institute, conducted the workshop on creating teaching resources. She taught teachers to make different types of puppets. On 25/4/18, Mrs. G. Shanti, Director of Phonics Power, and Mrs. G. Sharmila Ravi, co-founder of Phonics Power, conducted a workshop on the topic Basic and Advanced Phonics. The session was very interesting, lively, with a lot of activities. Now, Physical Education Department. On 24th April forenoon, the resource person was Dr. K. Karthikeyan, Assistant Professor, YMCA College of Physical Education, Chennai. He emphasized on recent implementation on 9 major games. In the afternoon, he did practical teaching on athletic events. On 25th April forenoon, Dr. K. Kannadasan, Assistant Professor, Department of Sports, Psychology, Sociology of Tamil Nadu, Physical Education, Sports Universities. He spoke on the role of positive psychology in sports and physical activities. In the afternoon, Dr. S. Selvalakshmi, Assistant Professor, Department of Yoga, Tamil Nadu Physical Education and Sports University, spoke on impact of yoga in enhancing good health. All these sessions were very interesting. Now for counselors, on 24/4/18, Dr. K. Satyamurthy, HOD of Social Work, MSSW, was the resource person. He dealt with the topics school counseling, counseling and therapy, what does a school counselor do, purpose of school counseling. On 25/4/18, the resource person was Dr. K.R. Karthik Lakshman, former professor of MSSW. He dealt with the following topics: what is counseling, when is counseling required, different counseling models used in the schools, guided imagery, gestalt therapy, reality therapy, and cognitive therapy. Both the sessions were very interesting and useful. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, teachers. Your sincere feedback today proved it was not just a conclave of minds, but a committed, heartfelt conversation of concerned intellectuals who share the vision for a socially and emotionally balanced society that promotes secular ethics and also best teaching practices. Thank you once again, dear teachers. A man of keen perception, a man who is always proactive, who encourages children with his words, if you believe you can, you will achieve it. It's none other than our president. I request Mr. R. Balaji, President, SBIOA Educational Trust, to deliver his presidential address.
Our beloved Secretary and Correspondent, Dr. Thomas Franker Rajendra Dev, the correspondent of our Coimbatore School, and who is going to be the Secretary and Correspondent from July onwards, my dear friend and senior colleague, Mr. G. Selvaraj, the correspondent of our Matriculation Higher Secondary School and senior colleague, Mr. A. Ravichandran, the correspondent of our Junior College and senior colleague, Mr. T. Sandeep Kumar, the correspondent of our Model Matriculation School, Mr. A. V. Joseph, and correspondent of our Trichy Schools, Mr. M. Ashok, the management committee member, Mr. Rajaram, Mr. S. Prakash, and Mr. Manimaran, who have been elected recently. The person who is in administrative career has shown the exemplary cadre, Sri Ashok Vardhan Shetty, IAS, right? And the person who has taken preparing for the global learners, Mark Nowski and his team of members, the administrator, Mr. P.C. Salvarani, the coordinators, principals, vice principals, and teachers of our SBO Educational Trust. Good morning to one and all. I am extremely happy to stand before you on this happiest occasion to deliver the presidential address. The Educational Trust, the trust which is not negotiable at any time. This Educational Trust is pioneer in conducting so many programs from 2013 onwards. Starting from changing in school education, today we landed at the Unity and Diversity program, a conclave of educational trust of a high stature, which has been organized today. And you people have undergone the last 5 days, the training program or brainstorming session as a seminar, whatever may be the nomenclature given to it. It is a unique future. Unity in diversity is a vast subject. What you have learned. In the first day in the inaugural address, I said that when the opportunity is given to you, you have to give your suggestions, deliberations, expressing your views and ideas for the development of the children in the society. Today, I believe that you will understand what is the broad meaning of our unity in diversity. If you understand what is the difference between the unity and unity in diversity, you will understand why this kind of important thing, which has been taken as a prime subject for this educational trust conclave. Optimistically, the humans get along with because of the differences, that is called unity and diversity. What clinical meaning? The clinical meaning, it expresses that the differences of human should be valued and to be taken into account so long and so something has to minimize or wipe out or it should be reduced among the people. And when it has been done is when they are all unique and stand together. That is the difference of it. But in a nutshell, we can say the unity of life is sharing. The unity of diversity is tolerance. That is the shortest meaning of this unity and diversity. You all know this. Education is the indisputable tool or the power, the way to inculcate the attitude, behavior, skill for the development of any person for the development of the society, in particular the social integration. That's why this educational trust, which is more important, which is more concentrating on the overall development of the teachers and the students, are all organizing the topics which other trusts could not able to take it or think of it. This is the brainchild of our secretary and correspondent. We are interested on your prosperity. We are interested on your career. We are interested on that our teachers should be always on the board in the industry. That's why we are spending a lot, not for keeping you for 5 days. It is to enriching you, to make you prepare yourself for the future. What Mark Nowosky has gone through this bulletin, he has prepared you for as a global learner. I assure you, Mark Nowosky, sir, that our teachers are today the global learners. Tomorrow they will be the global listeners, and in future they will be the global facilitators. This assurance I can give from our educational trust. This educational trust has a vision. This educational trust has a task. As an educator, we always believe that an opportunity has to be given to our students to develop their potential into the full strength. That is the aim, that is the vision. What we want is, we want to prepare our children and also our teachers to onslaught the 21st century of education, for which the initiative has been begun in this training session. I wish you all success and success in this validatory function. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for this motivating address. It is indeed my pleasure to introduce our guest of today, Dr. A. Ashokwardhan Shetty, former Registrar, Madras University, and former Vice Chancellor, Indian Maritime University. Mr. K. Ashokwardhan Shetty, IAS, belongs to the 1983 batch of Tamil Nadu IAS cadre. A Principal Secretary in the state's municipal department, Mr. Shetty is also an engineer and holds a postgraduate degree in business administration. Mr. Shetty served as a registrar at University of Madras in the year 1989 to 91, and he is also the director of collegiate education in 1999. He became the Vice Chancellor of Indian Maritime University in 2014 and had the tall task of filling up over 200 vacancies. As Vice Chancellor, he organized the first convocation of the university, ensured entrance examinations and online admissions, counseling took place, and revamped the administrative structure of the university. I request. Starting out as a sub-collector Hosur in 1985, Mr. Shetty held a number of key assignments, including Registrar of the University of Madras between 1989 and 1991, the first IAS officer to hold the post since 1857, and the youngest registrar ever at the age of 31. Deputy Commissioner, Commercial Taxes, Madras North from the year 1991 to 93, District Collector, Villupuram, 1993 to 94. He was also the Director of Rural Development from the year 1996 to 98 and Managing Director, TASMARC from 1998 to 1999. He was a Secretary to the Chief Minister's Secretariat 1999 to 2001, Managing Director, Sboasls, Salem from 2003 to 6. Principal Secretary, Rural Development and Panchayat Raj Department from the year 2006 to 10. Principal Secretary, Municipal Administration and Water Supplies 2010 to 11, and among many other accomplishments. Mr. Shetty was specially commended by the Government of Tamil Nadu in March 2011 for making the World Bank-funded Tamil Nadu Empowerment and Poverty Reduction Project a great success, and for being adjudged by World Bank as the best project in its design and implementation among all the World Bank-funded projects in any sector, not only in India but across the world. The successful implementation of the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme in Tamil Nadu during his stint as Principal Secretary, Rural Development and Panchayat Raj Department drew appreciation from none other than the Honorable Supreme Court of India in April 2010, which exhorted other states to follow the Tamil Nadu example. He was instrumental in making Tamil Nadu the first and the only state in the country to have a library, a sports center, and a cremation shed cum burial ground in each of the 12,618 village panchayats in Tamil Nadu by March 2011. May I request? He was specially commended by the Chief Secretary in 2005 for personally arguing and winning a WTO case for the levy of safeguard duty on imports of starch, which saved about 450 starch and sago factories in Tamil Nadu that were facing acute pressure from cheap imports from Thailand and Vietnam. He had the distinction of working as a short-term World Bank consultant to the government of Indonesia in August-September 1999 to advise on the formulation of poverty alleviation and employment generation schemes. Mr. Shetty has published nearly 20 articles on public administration, management, e-government, popular science, and popular mathematics in leading English newspapers such as The Hindu, The Hindustan Times, Indian Express, Business 9, and Science Today. May I request Mr. R. Balaji, President, SBI Educational Trust, to give him a memento as a token of our gratitude. I invite Dr. A. Ashok Vardhan Shetty IAS to deliver his valedictory address.